Hey guys, we're back with another episode of the podcast. I'm joined, as always, with my heterosexual life partner, Rob. And we're joined by Monster Gab's Tom. Hello, Tom.
Hi, how you going?
Welcome to the show. So Tom does his own YouTube channel, which is very fun, I just want to say.
Right,
bit of a fangirl, very, very nice. Yeah, Tom's from North Wales, like us as well. Do you want to just sort of tell us a bit about your channel on that first, Tom?
Okay, so Monster Gab is basically a channel dedicated to vintage and classic horror. Basically, it's just my way of showing my passion for classic horror films. In no way am I a critic or an expert. I'm literally a guy that just finds all my facts on Wikipedia and Google and whatever. And
my God. Same place I find them.
What was your so when you sort of like what was your first introduction to horror films? Like as a kid, was it or?
Kind of. I was actually a really cowardly child when I was a kid.
Okay.
So I had no interest in watching horror films whatsoever.
Same as me.
Yeah.
Complete opposite.
There are two films that really do stick in my head. One of them is Ridley Scott's Legend.
Oh, brilliant!
Tim Curry is
Curry.
Yeah, so there was a scene in that with a swamp witch called Meg
Mucklebones.
Yeah.
I called my wife that sometimes.
Well, that scared the crap out of me as a kid.
That's
and the other one was Return to Oz with the scene with all the heads in it.
Terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying. So anyone that grew up in the 80s watching that film, you have my sheer sympathy and consider this therapy. So that was my introduction, I suppose. But
they're pretty terrifying films.
They are. They're not really horror.
But I mean, they've got elements of horror.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people's first introduction to horror films usually aren't horror films.
No.
Yeah.
It's usually a kids' film, maybe that might have horror, like say, elements in it. Return to Oz, perfect example, and then you've got like Legend. I mean, I remember watching myself Legend as a kid because Tim Curry. As his name, is it Evil? Is that his name?
Yes, I think it is, isn't it?
Because, like, to be fair, for many years, even years after watching Legend, I never knew it was Tim Curry. Because as a kid, I never really
doesn't
looked at
look like him.
No, because I never looked at the credits and thought, oh, Tim, as a kid, you just don't look at those things. You're watching the images, and then suddenly, like years later, when I watched it, I thought that's the same guy, and I couldn't believe it because, like I say, his performance in that's probably my favourite performance of Tim Curry.
Yeah, I mean, Legend.
Yeah, because
what about Frankenfurter?
Yeah, I mean, he's
man got legs for days.
Sexy as
legs for days.
He is sexy in that film, but yeah.
I mean, sexy is the devil. Right, we need to get off the subject of sexy man.
Sex.
Sex.
No, but Legend's a great example though. So
Tom Cruise is in Legend.
Yes, very young Tom Cruise.
Yeah, if you look at Tom Cruise, I mean, like I say, his teeth aren't right in that movie. They're sort of a bit twisted before his days of like Top Gun came in.
That's right, yeah.
Do we know who done the makeup? I probably should have googled this, but do we know who done the makeup for Legend with Tim Curry?
Do you know, I can't remember. I only watched it recently.
Winston, maybe? It's very good.
You know what? I don't know if it is Stan Winston. We should know this really, but you would think it was someone like him, or maybe the Rick Baker type of thing.
Yeah, that's why. Because it's
Rob
that good.
Bottin worked on it, didn't he? Is it Rob Bottin?
Yeah,
he worked on it, but I don't think he did the makeup. He'd have done the practical effects, wouldn't he?
For me, like interesting. I know we're heading into Legend here still, but I think what's great about it is that Ridley Scott's his first 4 films. His first film was a film called The Duelists, and then it was Alien, Blade Runner, Legend. That is a hell of a run.
Oh, it is, yeah, absolutely.
For a director, I mean, that was like his first 4 films. Obviously, The Duelists is a bit more of a period film, but then you go straight into like say the sci-fi side of things. I know Legend's not. It's fantasy, isn't it? Really,
it's fantasy.
It's like a really dodgy.
It's very never-ending story-esque, isn't it?
Yeah,
but a bit darker than never-ending story. I'd say.
It's a dark fantasy film. So I would say there's elements of horror.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, like I said, Meg Mucklebones terrifying.
That's
when she jumps out and it's like.
It's the voice, isn't it? It's the I'm sure those are her lines.
It's not far away.
Have you got the screenplay on you?
Well,
it's very good though.
Well, I tried. But I've obviously seen your channel as well. Mostly it sticks to classical horror, doesn't it?
Mostly, I will delve into other elements as well because I'm not just doing films. I will cover books and games or whatever.
Because you just done Pet Sematary, didn't you?
I have, recently done Pet Sematary.
Was it the book you done or the film?
No, I did the film because I haven't actually read the book.
Apparently the book's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah,
I've never read the book myself.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, and obviously it would be good to do comparisons as well because you always get those. Well, the book was better, or the remake was better, and this and that. All I can do is give my opinion.
Yes, exactly.
Which is basically what the channel's about as well. It's me giving my. It's not fact. So I'm not stating that this is how it is and you have to accept this. I'm giving my opinion and I want to hear everyone else's as well. And that's
pretty cool idea for sort of like a channel really, having someone basically go through. I mean, let's face it, Stephen King's what's it? His
Repertoire.
His collection is massive, and if you were to go through like the films, because so many of his books have obviously been made into films or TV series.
Oh yeah.
And then to compare the two, because someone like me who will never probably read a Stephen King book, not because I don't want to, it's just that I just don't, I'm not a reader. When it comes to comparing the two, I think you probably you get brought into that world a bit more.
Yeah.
So to know that sort of knowledge of the fandom of the whole his universe.
Yeah, well, the beauty I think of Stephen King films is 'cause I haven't read many of his books, but there's something there that when you watch one of his, it's a Stephen King story.
Yes.
Even if you've never read the book, it's just got something about it. It's like, well, this is typical Stephen King.
Definitely,
Which one example I actually did on my channel is I compared the Shining movie alongside the TV miniseries.
Love the TV miniseries. I'm going to throw it out there.
I enjoyed it. I'm not going to say I don't like it. I did enjoy it.
CGI lions, I did not enjoy that.
Wasn't Wendy? I've not seen it, but I've seen the cast list many times.
Yeah.
Is this Wendy, Rebecca De Mornay?
Yes,
I was
It
gonna
was,
say,
it was the nanny in Hand That Box the Cradle, which is a film Chad and I talked about in a previous
Yeah,
podcast.
it was really good.
Right, yes, you're right. It
Yeah,
is.
because I mean, like, say she's because I've not.
Was she in Risky Business as well?
Yes, she was.
Yes, it is her.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's interesting you mentioned The Shining because on my honeymoon, not the best probably thing to say, but I tried to read The Shining on my honeymoon.
As you do.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
Romantic.
you're on the beach. It's hot. It was my first ever trip abroad when I went to.
Oh, when did
my
you go?
honeymoon. Went to Turkey.
Oh, nice.
Went to Gumbet, and I remember being on the just sunbathing and stuff, and I thought I'd take a book. So I took The Shining, and literally I was trying to read The Shining at the time, and but when you're trying to do all that and have a good time, it's a bit impossible. But I did not genuinely like the book because it felt so different to the film.
Yeah.
Now maybe this is why the likes of Stephen King hated the film.
Yes,
Wasn't
like
it?
he
Wasn't a fan.
openly hated the
Yeah,
film.
he's never been a fan. I mean, he was a fan of Doctor Sleep, I believe.
Yeah, well, he had a lot to do with it.
Right,
yeah.
Mike Flanagan consulted with him
Yeah.
on a lot of the
Yeah.
stuff, didn't he?
They reckon that, because I haven't seen Doctor Sleep, but apparently his attitude was they've rectified
Yeah.
the story.
Well, at the end of The
well,
Shining,
apparently.
That's good for King, though,
yeah,
isn't
the
it?
end,
good for
the end
King,
of the
yeah.
Shining book, the hotel burns down, doesn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they rectify. Spoiler. They rectify that in Doctor Sleep.
Oh, cheers, because I haven't seen it
Yeah.
yet. So, yeah.
Well,
that should be the number one. Well, maybe don't watch it just yet. Maybe forget about it and then watch it.
That's cool. That's
in
fine.
my defence, that isn't the biggest rectify.
Well, I mean, I kind of knew it happened anyway from the book, so
Yeah, like
Wow.
I said,
and the series.
I feel like I've ruined it. Let's just turn this off
Yeah,
now. I feel like I've
let's
ruined
just
it
leave
for
it,
Tom.
yeah.
Doctor Sleep is done.
Doctor Sleep. I thought it was alright. I thought it wasn't Mike Flanagan's best film. Hush, that was a good Mike Flanagan film.
Yes, it was. Yeah, did he do Oculus as well?
He did. I didn't like. Yeah, he did.
Oh, is
The
that
Mirrors.
the mirrors?
Yeah.
Karen.
I enjoyed that.
Karen.
I think it was alright.
I liked the kind of atmosphere and the tension of the
Yeah.
film. It wasn't like
Yeah.
jump scary or anything like that. It was mostly just an experience, I thought. But
It's certainly like an interesting director is coming up. I think like he's in that same field as Ben Wheatley.
Yeah.
Ben Wheatley's done. Have you seen In the Earth yet?
No.
I've not had a chance to watch it myself, but I know because have you seen Kill List?
no.
Keep
List.
talking about this, dude.
Yeah,
No, really.
Kill List. I'm a huge fan of. I mean, that's it's got elements. I mean, it's a bit of a thriller, a bit of a horror. It's got like a bit of elements of actually horror in it.
Cool.
There's
but,
a scene with a man with a hammer and a diddler, and that's all I'm going to say.
Tom,
Well, I'm intrigued.
Tim lives Tim. Who's Tim?
I have no idea.
Correct.
It sounds
Yeah,
like
Tom.
Tom.
Tim. Well, Tom lives near me, so what I'm going to do is, Tom, I'm going to bring Kill List to you.
Oh, that's great.
I've got it on Blu-ray, so I'll
Excellent.
borrow it.
That's
Oh, nice.
Borrow it.
Oh,
what a world.
friends of Blossom
I know,
today,
right?
guys. So yeah, with your next episode, because you did that, Rob, I did it with you. Because with Monster Gab, you're
Yeah.
doing a film. I commented on the other day, a film that not a lot of people know about,
Yeah.
but I think is a pretty fun film. I don't know if you would have watched it, Rob. What is it you're doing again?
It's children shouldn't play with dead
Have
pigs.
you watched it, Rob?
No, but I saw it mentioned the other day.
Yeah,
It is on
1972.
Amazon Prime if you wanted to watch it.
Is it a old film?
Yeah,
1972, yeah.
Okay.
It's a very kind of low budget. Well, it's,
Very low
It was
budget, isn't it? Yeah.
$50,000, I think.
Yes,
It was
yeah.
shot in 2 weeks, which I'll mention on the channel, but I'll do it on this one as well. Whatever.
Yeah, I've already spoiled Doctor Sleep. Spoil the video.
But no, it's one of those films that's kind of it's good and it's bad at the same time. And I wouldn't say it's a great film, but
No.
it's very enjoyable.
The main guy in it's so good. The guy dressed, he's a director. He's eccentric, isn't he?
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
He is. He's very kind of animated
Yeah.
and theatrical.
And his performance is amazing because I looked him up, and the only other thing I could find him in was that he was in Street Trash, I think.
Right, well,
Yeah.
most of the actors in that
Yeah.
film were actually the college friends of the director.
No way.
Which I can't remember his name now. I did know it.
He's got a bit of a funky name, hasn't he?
He's only made a handful of films.
Yeah.
He's done like a couple of like Christmas films, I think, and a horror one or whatever. But most of them were just his college friends, and I think only one or two of them went off into acting as a profession.
You can kind of tell that from the film because the acting's very hammy. But that's the charm. The charm of it's like
exactly, and this is what I've mentioned as well. Is the fact that the film has a lot of charm. You can tell it's low budget, but you can appreciate that. They still managed to capture a lot of atmosphere. And
the makeup's pretty fun in it as well.
Makeup's brilliant.
Makeup's like a $50,000 film,
and that's on Amazon Prime, is it?
It's on Amazon Prime.
It was when I watched it.
It's also, I've just realised now, it's also on YouTube on Flickful.
Okay, right, because to be fair, if you go on YouTube, it's like a little endless like vault of like
there's
movies.
a channel called Flickfault where they actually do have genuine movies, so it's not just some guy that's uploaded it and trying to get away with it.
There you go. Flickfault.
Yeah, send me I don't know,
some cheddar, that's like $1 bills, you know.
To be fair, I never knew that existed either.
Flickfault. So apparently, as far as I'm aware, it's a legitimate channel for YouTube.
Right,
so
I suppose that way it stops people from actually uploading their own stuff.
I think so.
Well, tries to.
I don't know how it works, but I mean, you know.
Yeah, YouTube's very weird with that thing though, aren't they? Like you can put up loads of things and then you put up like a minute video of calling someone a diddler and they take it down.
Well, I'm going through like this phase at the moment watching. Have you heard of the Canon Group, who are basically like a film company from the 80s?
Superman and all that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I really like Superman 4.
Massive fan of Superman 4.
Big fan.
First Superman.
You know, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. You've just got to be mature enough to understand that you're wrong.
True.
Sorry, that was so mean. He's not going to lend me those DVDs now.
No, I will. It's a good guy. But
there may be something in the box with like some hornets and some like stung.
No, I mean, yeah.
You really like it. You really
do you know what it was? Superman 4 was the first, to my memory, it was the first Superman film I ever saw.
Right.
So, and that was about...
So you got nostalgia for it?
Yeah, massive, yeah. Don't be wrong.
I was joking anyway.
I don't sit there, you weren't. I don't sit there, and to be fair, I don't watch Superman and think it's a great film. I just have that nostalgic feeling about it.
Absolutely.
Because that's like that with many films, isn't it? Really?
Oh,
when it comes to
yeah.
childhood. But Superman 2 will always be my favourite Superman.
Well, that's fine. Yeah, they did the Masters of the Universe as well, didn't they? Was that the film that broke the bank?
Basically, Masters of the Universe came out. And
is that one with Dolph Lundgren?
Yeah. And recently I was talking about Cyborg. Have you seen Cyborg with Jean-Claude Van Damme?
I have.
Yes,
Cyborg,
Cyborg
very long time ago.
Basically should have been Masters of the Universe 2 and because they were making Spider-Man and Masters of the Universe 2. And they had problems from both ends with the rights because Mattel basically took away the rights with Masters of the Universe, and Marvel took away the Spider-Man one. But they already made sets. They spent millions on both films.
I heard this.
I think more so on Masters of the Universe 2. And then they were like, shit, what are we going to do? And they decided basically to use the sets and, to a certain degree, and some costumes, and bung them into Cyborg, which was directed by Albert Puyan, I think his name, Payan, I think. And he came up with Cyborg's idea in the space of a weekend.
Wow!
And then straight away they were pretty much, Van Damme got involved. But the Canon, I'm going for the Canon films at the moment. But you can watch a lot of Canon films on YouTube.
Right. Okay.
Is that because that business is no longer a business, kind of? They're like that company.
They're gone, aren't they?
Yeah. Like I say, it wasn't until many years later they did fold officially, but. But yeah, like I say, Canon Films is great. So if you want to catch up on movies like that, you can catch quite a few on YouTube, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, it's good. It's handy.
Including the documentary Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, that's what I call Lockdown 2. Lockdown 2, the Electric Boogaloo, I called it. Don't know it was from that. With our last guest, Barry Wolfman, we asked him what his favourite horror franchise was. So I want to give that question to you as well. I want to know why. I want to know what you like about the franchise.
It's a good question, actually. I would probably, if I had to pick one, it would probably be the Dracula Hammer.
Nice, Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee, yeah. I don't know, it's just something about Christopher Lee as Dracula anyway. He's charismatic, but he's still kind of terrifying.
I read somewhere, I don't know if this is true. You older gentlemen might know better than me, sorry. The first time blood was showing in red was a Hammer film. Is that true? Does anyone know that?
I think so, because it was filmed in Technicolor, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I don't know if it's true, but I know Hammer, they specifically used a very vivid colour of red for the blood, a very false...
Because it's that scene where he turns around, his eyes
the blood's only like a crimson kind of colour, where it's just this bright red, and it was like to show off, like, this is in colour, guys, so it may be true.
That's what I heard. Another film while we're on Hammer horror, and I don't think Christopher Lee gets spoke about enough for it, is his portrayal of Frankenstein's monster.
Oh, it's
I
brilliant.
think he smashes that. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of people going about
You
Karloff.
mentioned that a few times.
Yeah, I always thought Christopher Lee's portrayal as the monster.
No, it's brilliant because Karloff, I think, started the stereotype. With the flat head, the bolts. Because that's not in the book.
No.
That's Karloff and the makeup design. That's
Jack Pierce.
Yes,
Jack
it was.
Pierce,
Yes, it was. And everyone that relates to the Frankenstein monster thinks of that image.
Bald scars.
That's right.
Really tall. Yeah.
Hammer weren't allowed to use that image.
Oh,
Universal said
right.
we cannot use that image, so like, all right, we'll make our own monster. And Christopher Lee stated that he wanted it to be like your bits and pieces, and that's what they came up with.
Yeah, terrifying.
And I think it is.
Yeah, I'm going to say it. I think it's better than Karloff. Visually, I don't think.
Right, yeah.
Visually, I think it's.
I think you're right. I
be.
think you're right. So if you're going to go and relate it to the book, I think you're right.
That's what I mean.
I think Karloff is iconic. Though.
Iconic, yeah.
And you can watch back to back. They're two different films. They're two very different.
It's interesting how you say because I remember my first sort of like introduction to Frankenstein was the Kenneth Branagh film.
De Niro.
With De Niro, because his Frankenstein,
great
his
film.
Frankenstein's more like
90s, isn't it?
yeah,
He's got a big leather jacket, isn't he? Yeah.
Because when I was watching that film, I always seen images of the classical Frankenstein, so I thought that's what they were going for in this film. And then when I saw how he was, I thought, oh, does it get made up into that eventually? But then obviously it's just like a different take on it.
Yeah.
But I still thought, like I say, like you said about Christopher Lee's Frankenstein being more like pieces of him. Sort of thing. That's what De Niro's is really.
Yeah, because the one you just mentioned there, it was a 90, was it 95, 96?
Yeah. It's
it was good for
That's Paul.
Well, there you see, I'm right. That's a closer adaptation to the book as well.
Really, right.
Because I read the book recently, and that's kind of their take on. It's not obviously entirely, faithful.
Is that the closest adaptation you've seen, though? Would you say?
Possibly.
Yeah.
I think it probably is. Yeah, I'd probably say it is.
Because when I watched that, it seems very more gothic.
Yeah.
Compared to because obviously Karloff seemed very. What's the word? Like it was a movie, and then the Hammer one just seemed like it was like there to scare you. But that one seemed like it was like this gothic tale that I was watching unfold.
Wait, was it Coppola, Francis Ford Coppola?
That was the 92 Dracula.
Yeah, because it was right off the back of it.
Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
So that's how I think Frankenstein, Branagh's got sort of like got the go ahead because people wanted to see more, didn't they?
That's right. Yeah. So I think that's how it came to be.
He's also in that, isn't he, Kenneth Branagh?
He is Victor Frankenstein.
Yes, of course. I mean, never watched that. That is also on Netflix.
It's a good film.
It's
you either love it or hate it.
Yeah,
it's a bit more like.
I mean, I was a big fan of it because, like I say, being young, impressionable, I was really, just was focused on it really well. I thought it was really well made as well because Branagh is a Shakespearean actor, and I think like he played Victor Frankenstein in that kind of Shakespearean role type of thing. Very Shakespearean characters in in films just tend to be like in the books very very eccentric sort of thing. But have you seen the Dracula? That when Frank Langella played Dracula.
Yes.
Yeah, I watched that recently and I thought that was one of the best looking Dracula films I'd ever seen.
Yeah, that's the one. It's got Donald Pleasance as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I've seen that. I was trying to think that.
This good. That is a very good gothic looking film.
Exactly. Yeah.
Visually, it's really really nice.
Because it's not like Hammer horror. It has got its own feel about it. I just remember some of the scenes in it thinking because I mean they use actual scenes in Whitby. Where obviously was a big basis for the book.
It's a huge part of the book.
Huge influence, isn't it?
Yeah,
I just remember watching it. I just felt like it was very eerie. The colour scheme of the whole movie itself, like it just felt very dull, really.
Yeah, and it's funny you mention it because I think they did a really good job here because what people criticise is in the book I would say that the first few chapters are based in Transylvania.
Right.
And for me personally, that's the best part of the book. It's the scariest part. It's gothic, and in the movie they cut that right out.
Yeah, he's on the ship by this time. Isn't he?
Yeah. So I heard this when because I bought the DVD and I was reading the reviews on Amazon or whatever, and they say, they cut this bit out. And they've cut the best part out.
Yeah.
This film can't be any good.
That's
and
strange.
They actually managed to keep that gothic aspect despite the fact that they went ahead with their own direction.
Would have been interesting to see that though, the introduction of the movie because the BBC adaptation of Dracula, which was a couple of years ago, that I believe started off in Well, I've actually seen.
It did. Did you watch the BBC version?
I did.
I didn't mind it.
I didn't. Well, I liked
Part
it up until
three,
part
yeah.
3. It's just like, what is going on here?
It starts off in Transylvania, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
because Mark Gatiss is in that. Is that how you say his name? Mark Gatiss, Mark Gattis, from League of Gentlemen and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
He's,
realise.
I think he plays the like the little weasel guy, from the book in the film. Can't remember his name.
Tom Waits played him in
Exactly.
I do know his name.
The guy who gets Vigo the Carpathian free and goes Buster 2 plays him in Dracula Dead and Loving It with Dennis Nilsson.
Yes.
No, Leslie Nielsen, sorry, not Dennis. Dennis Nilssen's a serial killer, isn't he?
Well, this is horror related, I suppose, so we
won't be getting him on the show.
On the right track.
Yeah. I got the last name right, didn't I?
Nielsen, so we got to do
God.
Just keep rolling. Just daft on the brain, I don't know, isn't he? So would you say Christopher Lee is your favourite portrayal of Dracula?
Well, he is in the sense that that's my favourite version of the Dracula films. But as far as characters, I quite like Klaus Kinski.
Oh.
From the remake of Nosferatu. I think probably because he looks more like a monster.
Yes, yeah.
And I always see, because Dracula's my favourite novel. Absolutely my favourite. And he's described as a monster, and I think that's how he's meant to be portrayed. Because
the reason Bela Lugosi got the roles because they want someone good looking.
Yeah, so he was romantic, and don't get me wrong, it works.
Yeah,
it really works.
Is it like that in the book? Is he romantic, or is he just like blood sucking?
Well, people take what they want from the book. I see it as sorry, someone beat me on there. I think people I see him as a monster.
Okay,
I see him as an absolute monster, and I think that just, for me, is who Dracula is.
But Francis Ford Coppola's, they did try to humanise him a little bit, didn't they?
I love that one because he's got those big titties on his head, hasn't he? Big titty head, mate. Love that because he walks in there and he's like licking blades. He's got this big brush more titties on his head.
The Impaler, isn't it?
I don't know what they were thinking of.
So funny, like he walks in pale as nothing. In The Simpsons, have you seen that? That's the horror. Mr. Burns has got so kills me off to this day.
I just want to know who kind of said that's what we need. That's what this film needs.
You know what he needs? Titties. Titties on his head. Get him.
I've seen a couple of behind-the-scenes clips, and I think that film. I think Gary Oldman suffered with Coppola in that movie because there's a lot where Coppola's trying to explain to him. It's on YouTube, I think this clip is, and it's become quite famous over the last couple of years. But he's telling Ullman what to do. Ullman's sort of doing it, and he's sort of then explaining, no, you're not doing it. And then they're literally like Gary Oldman being very, very humble and very kind. He's sitting there going, I'm doing my best.
Yeah.
What I don't understand, and so I'm not so sure what Coppola's sort of going for in his vision of Dracula, because to me Dracula is very romantic.
Yeah,
I mean, as in the Coppola version.
I think
it deals in romance a lot, more than creature.
I think, again, going back to the book, I think you take from it. I don't know, perhaps you put yourself into it when you read it, and you take from it whatever you think is kind of.
That's a lot with a lot of kind of media, though, isn't it? You take out what you want. Like I imagine when I watch, say. I know it's spoken about, but Reindeer Games, what you got me to watch, because what I took away from it was probably nothing that you took away from it. Do you know what I mean?
Like I say, everyone's got. It's obviously the art is subjective, and we always look at a film in sort of a different way, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the thing is with Coppola and Dracula,
Nicolas Cage's uncle.
Yes.
Sorry, just wanted to throw that out there, guys. Just wanted to throw that out there.
You're correct.
Thank you.
Well, I suppose every 20, 30 years, you always get a different version of Dracula, don't you?
Normally,
and then you'll get someone's different interpretation. I mean, because of all the Dracula films you've seen, which one would you say is the most faithful to the book?
I would say not so much a film, but there was a mini-series, BBC, but not the recent one.
Okay.
In the 70s, there was a 2-part mini-series, I think, and that is the closest adaptation, I think. As far as I'm aware, that is the closest adaptation to the book.
Anyone of note in that?
Do you know, I can't remember. No. There probably is, and they're probably like, but no, it's definitely. I would say it's worth a watch if you don't want to read the book, because it's quite a book. If you want to know what the Dracula story truly is, that's probably the most faithful version, and it's pretty close.
Definitely, yeah. It's
apart from one or two characters that took out.
No, to be fair, I'd like to find out more about that, because I think, like say, TV series, I think sometimes when it comes to stories like Dracula, especially if they're big, if their books are obviously of a certain size, you want as much detail as possible. So TV series will always fill that gap.
Yeah, and it's only, I think it's a two-parter.
Okay.
So I
Not too
think
big
it's
then,
like
yeah.
3 hours altogether.
Oh, that's quite
So,
long, to be fair.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
There's a lot to cover, so.
Two films we call that in the business.
Oh, is
not
that
two
what it is?
episodes.
Is that what it is?
What kind of... sorry, Jack, go on.
No, you know what, man? I was just going to start rambling about Dracula's titty head again.
Yeah.
You carry on.
Well, that's going to be its own podcast.
I'll be there for that.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, we'll have a whole each.
That's just a hump.
Yeah.
That's just a hump, not a horn.
He's only got two. We'll figure it out. Apart from horror, then.
Yeah.
So, well, actually, a quick question. So, what makes you? So, when the films that you review on your YouTube channel,
Yeah.
what sort of makes you choose them? Is it films that are they always for like first watches, or are they ones you've seen before but you want to re-review?
Do you know, I don't think I really plan it.
Right. Okay.
I literally kept, Pet Sematary was requested.
Right.
Because a friend of mine requested that,
Brilliant.
so I just did that. So yeah, of course, absolutely, because I don't get many of them.
Yeah.
I've got a very big whopping 54 subscribers.
Nice.
Probably 55 now, just to round it up after this. Of course.
I'm one of them.
And yeah, I think, to be honest with you, it's just however I'm feeling and what I want to cover as much ground as possible as well.
Yeah.
So I don't want to just do vampires, werewolves. It's got to be like I will do some modern stuff as well.
I think for the channel though, I think it's good to sort of do the more unique films because sometimes there's so many fans out there about movies that no one talks about, and there's no one to talk about them to anyone.
Yeah.
And I think, like I say, if they find someone who's doing like a bit of a niche sort of like
That's
review.
exactly why I've done it actually,
Yeah.
because I'm one of those people.
Right.
Yeah, I don't find many people that
So you
are
couldn't
into.
find someone yourself doing it. So you
No,
did it
so I'm
yourself.
reaching out to
Yeah,
people now, and
yeah.
what I'm actually trying to create is not necessarily a YouTube channel. It's actually a community. I
Good,
do want
good.
people to comment and say, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, I love that film," or "No, I thought it was awful," to be honest, or someone give me some kind of trivia as
Yeah.
well.
Nice.
That's basically what I'm trying to create. So
The advice with that is to never stop doing it.
that's right. Yeah.
Constantly talk about it.
There's a
absolutely.
bromance happening
I
in front
can.
of your eyes right now. You need to witness this.
Rudland boys.
You're also a good musician, if you don't mind me saying.
Oh, thanks.
Well, yeah, you are. Actually, he's
The
good.
barbershop.
Yeah, but yeah,
Right.
which you've stopped doing that now, though.
I
haven't you?
have, yeah, to focus on the
Yes.
Monster Gab channel.
Do you do any of that with the videos? I think I've seen with a couple of them you do your music in the Monster Gab stuff as well.
All the music's mine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
so I do all my own music. Without being, I have got a domestic recording studio at home.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm in a band with my brother.
Cool.
That's where all my music editing came
I think
from.
I have seen some videos you and your brother play.
TDG.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not 3 Days Grace, I'm afraid. Yeah, it's just.
What kind of music is that?
It's mostly punk rock.
Okay.
But we do cover other areas. I mean, I've actually released an album, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. It's on Spotify.
Wow, big
Search
boy.
for Tom H. Goss, New Friends. That's
Nice.
It's on Amazon, Spotify, whatever. But that's not punk, by the way. That's it's just
Is that more easy listening?
Oh, very more. Yeah.
Very
reggae.
barbershop sort of stuff, is it?
No. I would say I've taken a lot of inspiration from artists, say like Elton John, Billy Joel, because I'm a
Like
pianist.
piano,
Yeah,
yeah.
piano player, pianist.
All in my head then when he said that, I just imagined a blazer and some glasses. That's all he took from it.
I can't play like that.
Well, weirdly enough, Elton John's got the. Have you seen that outfit he wore once with the big horns on?
Oh, yeah.
Get away from the titty head, innit?
We can't move away from it.
It's a Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
Yeah.
Any other titty-headed remarks about Dracula?
We're going to do a type podcast of actors and characters that had massive
dodgy hair.
Absolutely. I think that's definitely.
Also, whilst we're on the subject of bad things in Dracula, Keanu Reeves' accent.
Oh.
Just while we're here.
I mean,
just while we're
I'm a
here for a
massive
minute.
Keanu Reeves fan, but you cannot.
You can't not say that's good.
No, you cannot
not.
defend it. Sadly.
No.
Every now and then I just expect them to go, whoa.
Yeah. Dude.
But no, I love Keanu Reeves, so I'm not going to knock him too much.
No.
But yeah. Listen.
So that brings us to the closing part where we'd like to talk about. We're back with we put films on, obviously, Tom. You know.
Yes,
this,
I am aware. Yeah.
In the where we are right now, the little theatre in Brill, and we've got a first showing,
Yes.
which is the Wicker Man, 1973 by what's his name?
Robin Hardy.
That's his name. Always forget it.
Yeah.
And because we also talked about the Hammer horror films.
Yeah.
Obviously, Christopher Lee's
Christopher
in it.
Lee's in
Lord
it.
Summer's Isle.
Yeah,
That's
that's
called,
right.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got
Edward
Woodward, which is amazing to
Yeah.
say. What's it
Yeah.
called without the D's? Iwa-wee-wa.
Iwa-woo-wa. Yeah.
It's good for us to follow
Yeah.
the stuff.
Would you do it? No, but Edward Woodward would.
Oh, God, like a rapper. You're a rapper. You got a rap album on Spotify.
I actually did
He's
used
a,
to rap.
he's a musician, isn't he? He
Right,
gets
I'm
the
rubbish.
words together.
Oh,
No, but
God.
I remember when I watched The Wicker Man for the first time, I thought it was like one of the most Christopher Lee films there was. because I associate him with obviously with the Hammer horror movies and things like that. And even though towards the end he becomes more Christopher Lee, the actor sort of as we know and love sort of thing. But I think it's an odd choice of movie for him. I thought when watching it for the first time, I thought this is different because to me, The Wicker Man, and I guess a quick review actually, because I've always thought of it as I think it's obviously a very good film. I think it's a very important film.
Yeah.
Because it's a film
for British cinema.
Exactly.
Definitely,
because it's a film it's so original in its time. I mean, when you watch Kill List, you'll see a couple of nods to the Wicker Man.
Definitely, yeah.
And there's a lot of things about the Wicker Man that I say that when I first watched it, I was quite disappointed because I thought it'd be a bit more. Everyone talked about it. And I thought it was gonna be a big gore film.
No,
but it wasn't. Well, nothing like that. It was more like a drama.
It's just batshit crazy, if anything.
It is, yeah. I mean, like I said, towards the end, it goes.
Is it as crazy as the Nicolas Cage remake?
Do you know what? I didn't think it was as bad as people.
It's funny.
The thing is, the awkward thing is, I watched the remake first.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's an interesting take.
Yeah.
Killing me won't bring back your goddamn honey.
I mean, Nicolas Cage. I mean, looking back now, the way Nicolas Cage's career is.
Yeah.
The Wicker Man doesn't seem like such an odd choice now for him.
No.
Back then, it was a weird film for him because he was still making blockbuster movies.
Yeah.
Like. He was not long after National Treasure and Knowing, those were decent movies. Yeah. But now you look at Mandy, you look at Colour Out of Space, and films like The Wicker Man's, his version of it
does suit him, doesn't it?
It seems quite normal.
Yeah.
Well, there's a compilation online on YouTube. Don't know if you've seen it. It's just like I think it's long. It's like 12 minutes of Nicolas Cage losing his shit. That's what the video's called.
Not seen that.
And it's the greatest thing that I've watched. I haven't watched Nicolas Cage losing his shit. Just 12 minutes of him just kicking off at people in his films. It's beautiful.
He's got great range.
Yeah, definitely. Usually shouty.
Yeah.
Did you know that he was Francis Ford Coppola's nephew?
Well,
unbelievable.
Twice.
Great trivia.
So yeah, we've got that on the 22nd of September, 7 o'clock, £3.
Which is a Wednesday.
Which is a Wednesday, even though it's called Frightening Fridays, but we'll call
dates will hold.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that'll be fun. So if you want to come down, come down.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant what you're doing now. I really do think it's a great thing.
There's no better way than to see. In my opinion, all films need to be seen on the big screen.
Well, you were saying that.
I was saying that before. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you've seen it before. Experiencing it on the big screen. And some of these films, I mean, like The Wicker Man, I wasn't born.
Yeah.
So this is a great opportunity to see it on the big screen.
Let's be honest. How many people can say they've seen The Wicker Man on the big screen? Not many. I've seen many old films on the big screen. Wicker Man is not one of them.
No. And it's like you said, it's an important film for British cinema.
So,
exactly. Like I say, I've always over the years I've watched it many times. I've loved it more and more because even though it's not a long film, like 88 minutes or so, I still find something different with it every time I watch it.
Yeah,
it's these like little sort of secret moments, and you think
it's odd.
It is, yeah.
It's one of the because I think I watched it in bed one night, and my wife was probably playing on her phone or something like that, with her headphones on or something. But every now and then she'd just take her headphones on. What the hell are you watching? It's like you can't explain it. It's just
that last scene is like one of the most iconic moments in horror history.
Oh, without shadow of a doubt.
What's he called? Detective Howie, is he? Is that his name?
Howie.
Yes, he's a police constable.
That's it, yeah. I mean, it's great because obviously it's about that's what when I watch The Wicker Man now, I get like these the whole about faith. Because obviously he's a Christian, he's a very devout Christian, and then obviously you've got the Celtic paganism that he's having to endure. It's just like, and then you've got Britt Eklund dancing against was it a wall? Was it, or was it a door?
I think so.
You see a couple of Dracula's hair pieces right there. If you catch my drift,
she's
Tiggly Wigglies.
She is out of this world.
Should start a new channel.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
So yeah. Sorry, we went well off course then. Tits again. So come to that. Rob also does cult films.
Yes,
which is pretty sweet. Your first show will be next month, right?
No, it's going to be. Well, it's good. We were hoping to do it in September, but it's going to be October.
Oh, I thought it was September. Sorry, way behind it. Yeah, this is October.
October, and then there'll be another horror film with Chad.
There will.
And then it's going to be another horror film. Sorry, another cult movie in November, and I'm guessing another horror one in November also.
So hope you enjoy Christmas horror.
Yes, that's a little.
And also,
make
sure. Well, that's what. Don't ruin it.
Oh, sorry.
This is like Doctor Sleep all over again. Obviously,
this is like it's like Superman.
Oh God! Don't bring back up Superman 4.
You're going to show Superman 4?
Oh God, no! You're not come. It's me on my own.
I'll be there. I'll be on the phone, Bobby.
Yeah, there you go. Then. Superman 2, perhaps.
Sweet. So yeah, that's it from us. Thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Really enjoyed
Always.
it.
Yeah, sorry about the titty talk, but
No.
make sure you subscribe to Tom because his channel's really good and he puts a lot into it. Me and Rob just come here and sit here, and everyone else does the hard work.
Yeah,
Tom does the hard work
Tom
himself.
is the actual talent.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
So,
that's
yeah.
We just talk.
Also, check out his music. It's pretty sick.
On Spotify.
On Spotify, yeah. And like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time, guys.
See you again.